Welcome to Raging Bullets, a DC Comics fan podcast, episode 667. Welcome to Raging Bullets. I'm Sean Whalen, drnorge, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Jim, the sensei of the whatnot, the master of speculation, the duke of the sultan of strategery, the bridge-defying, and for 667 shows striving to get to the whatnot of the story because he remains the elder statesman of the podcast, Segulin.
How's it going, eh?
On this episode, Jim, we are going to be talking about Gotham City Year 1 and Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing, issue number 1. We are sponsored, as always, by DCB Service and InStockTrades.com. Mr. Segulin, what is going on over at DCBService.com?
Well, we have Absolute Batman 3 Jokers hardcover. 50% off, only $50. And we have Batman Spawn One Shot. 40% off, only $4.19. Plus, this one comes with a lot of variant covers for you variant cover collectors, and they are also 40% off. So, thank you, DCBS.
Over at InStockTrades.com, they've got some really cool omnibuses in their deals of the week. They got the Doom Patrol by Rachel Pollack omnibus hardcover, $100 regularly, 50% off, only $50. The new Teen Titans, and if you don't own this, you need to. This is the Wolfman and Perez run. The first volume of the new Teen Titans omnibus hardcover is in a 2022 edition now. $100 regularly, 50% off, only $50. I'm so glad that this book keeps getting reprinted, and it's just a great, great read. I want to thank DCB Service and InStockTrades.com for continuing to support our show. Mr. Segulin, what kind of a podcast are we?
Raging Bullets is a spoiler podcast. We go in-depth into plotline, story twists, and whatnot of the comics we're discussing on today's show. So, if you haven't read the books, you may want to come back later so you can better enjoy the show.
Let's talk some DC news.
Nice work, Atom. What are these characters up to?
Jim, some interesting news about Titans Season 4 and Doom Patrol Season 4 is coming out of our Facebook group. So it looks like the two seasons are going to be divided into two parts. Thoughts on that?
Yeah. No, seriously. I don't mind when they break stuff up like that because, for me, it's how they're able to get the content better to us, and they're telling the story. And I always seem like, to me, it feels like we're always getting more information, more more episodes. So I'm always okay with the dividing like that, as long as it's been the plan all along. Because if it's just something that they had to suddenly do, like with the COVID stuff that hit, and it changed a lot of stuff about how it changed a lot of stuff on how different TV shows were running, and they ran shorter seasons, stuff like that. That kind of annoyed me. But they're going into it saying this is the plan. So, okay, let's see what we get.
I think right now all companies are trying to figure out streaming platforms. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing, in the sense that some companies are releasing everything at once. Some companies are doing the weekly release model that is more like traditional television, and other companies are doing things like this where they, splitting up seasons and do different things. I don't really care. It's the content that I'm interested in that drives me. So it's the fact that we're getting a Titan Season 4 and a Doom Patrol Season 4 is really all I care about at the end of the day. I got so much stuff to watch now, and I say that adoring it. I mean, I'm having trouble keeping up in a good way. A great example, before we actually jump into anything further, Battle of the Super Sons came out on digital this week, and I started watching it. I'm halfway through as of this recording, and the only reason why I'm halfway through is it literally came out, I think, yesterday. I got my little notice that, like, hey, this digital pre-order that you get in place is now available for you. I started watching it this morning and had to go to work.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why I'm not done watching it. I will tell you, first impressions, I'm halfway through. It is amazing. And what I love about it is, it's kind of what I loved about the most recent Spider-Man animated movie. It's got like its unique art style, where it's playing around with the art form. It doesn't look like the other DC animated releases. And I'm always a fan of when they do that. But here's what I will say about it. if you are a fan of John Kent, if you're a fan of Damian Wayne in the comic books, this really captures those two. The casting is brilliant. If you like the little monster, he's the little monster.
Awesome.
Because it's very much an origin of their relationship. In a unique story, in an original story, but like pulls all the right core elements from comics and puts them into this, so you'll feel right at home. They're the characters that you know, but yet it feels fresh at the same time. I am loving this so far. I'm halfway through, and after we're done recording, I'm going to be the other halfway through. So I'm glad it's another home run hit from these DC animated releases. And I'm glad that we aren't losing these in light of streaming television and all these other things that are going on out there. I'm glad DC is still embracing this delivery medium, because I look forward to every one of these. This quality is the reason why. I'm glad that these wind up on HBO Max and things like that. I still buy them ahead of time.
Yep.
Because I want to watch them right when they come out. It's worth the investment for me to do that, and I own it. I mean, which is an important piece. So, speaking of ownership, DC Universe Infinite Ultra has come out. Did you jump on this bad boy right away?
I am going to. I haven't yet, but I will.
I have. That's why I was asking, because I was asking, are you using it? Right now, if you jump on this, comics, it's everything up to 1 month. I mean, So I am using DC Universe Infinite now more than I ever have before with this. I don't know. I mean, I'm saying this out of the starting gate right now, that it definitely has impacted the amount that I'm going to that platform because of the convenience of being able to get there. I think one of the things that I'm most curious about with this is, what does this mean for creators as far as them being paid? And, I'm a big fan of, I want more content. And the only way you're going to get more quality content is if creators are making money off of this. So I hope this is another vehicle for creators to get paid. I want the company to make money too, which may be a taboo thing to say. But I mean, in the end, if, DC Comics is making money, if the creators are making money, everybody wins, and I don't know that this is, I guess I'm wondering if this type of thing is a competitor really for comic shops, because I feel like if you're a collector like I am, ownership is a really important thing, as far as being able to have the continuing your collection, having the physical medium. This to me is a competitor for how I read, not for how I collect, if I'm making any sense at all. I like reading this way. It's cool to be able to just have everything on the device, but my need for my collection and my ever-evolving way that I collect stuff is still there, because I'm not spending any less money on physical things. It's just everything looks different now as far as what physically I'm buying looks differently. I guess I should ask you that question. With digital and purchasing digital, do you shop less for physical? I'm not saying different. Do you shop? I mean, have your bills gone down any? Because mine have not.
Okay, my bills have not gone down. Mm-hmm. But I'll be honest with you, with this Ultra, things may change. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm getting some digital stuff, and I'm just, some of the limited series stuff I may not end up buying all the limited series stuff digitally. Because right now I buy it digitally unless it's something like, oh, yes, I know I will want to own this. So I am buying it. I'm buying the paper version. But a lot of that stuff is digital. With this new Ultra where it's 1 month after, I'm like, I'm looking at some of the limited series that I'm getting right now digitally. I'm now thinking, you know what? With Ultra, I could maybe not get an Ultra and just wait a month and read it then. So it's, with the introduction of digital, I stopped buying a lot of stuff. I've got a couple books that I have paper on. I will have paper on until the day I die. But I've got some that I'm just getting digitally. And there's been a couple even that I get the digital first issue, and then I hang and I wait until the trade comes out, unless we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I buy the digital trade even. because I find the digital trade is even less than less than if I buy each individual issues. Well, now with this Ultra, I may, I get issue 1. If I like it, okay, I'm going to just hold off on not buying 2, 3, and all that, and just wait till it comes a month out. Or if it's like, it was okay, but nothing really had me going, yay, I may just really wait, So it's one of those things where digitally has changed my purchase. I'm still spending as much money, if not more than I was, because there's a lot of stuff that I buy the paper and I buy digital. Mm-hmm. And then when the absolutes come out, I buy the absolutes. So I'm still getting a lot of stuff, but again, like when the Infinite app first came out, I was thinking, oh yeah, I could use that to cut back on my buying, but having to wait so long for stuff, I was like, I just found myself, I'll just keep getting it. I like it. I'm going to keep getting it. Well, now with this, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know how my shopping is going to change with this. So ideally, I'd love to spend less money, but so far it hasn't happened.
So I've had it for like a week, I guess. Whenever they announced it, and I think it was a week ago Monday, that it was something that we were able to purchase. Whatever the first day was that we could purchase it, I jumped on this. $99 introductory price for the Ultra membership for the year. I mean, now the key there is introductory price, which means they're planning this. This is going to go up.
Yeah.
But I think it's an interesting move. They are the first company. So I got that, and I do have Marvel's service as well. Marvel is 3 months out. I think Marvel's 3 months out. They're not 1 month out. I know that's for sure. But this new Ultra tier is DC's first. They're the first ones throwing down the gauntlet and doing this. I gotta say, out of the gate, I really like it, and I started like adding books, and whereas before I was really using the Infinite app for older books, and things that like their originals when they would do those special contests and things like that. Yeah. Now I'm reading what's completely shifted, at least in this. And this is just out of the gate right now. I'm reading a lot of new stuff that I'm behind on in this because of the fact that it's all there and I can just get caught up. So if you get it out of the gate, things are labeled Ultra now. And so like if you follow like Black Adam, let's use the current Black Adam mini that's going on. It basically shows you what issues are available already on Infinite, and then the rest of them are labeled Ultra, and they're up to 1 month out. Everything's there right now. I mean, they give it to you right away, so it's cool. You get an exclusive physical comic book, the Death of Superman 30th Anniversary Edition, with an exclusive cover. Does that kind of stuff excite you? Like you're going to get the exclusive cover? Yeah, me too. On Marvel's end, if you do the year for their, like, whatever their top tier is, you get like an exclusive Daredevil action figure, which that drew me into. So I'm enjoying these services right now. I just hope, truly for me, what I hope it translates into good things for creators. I hope creators are making money, because they've got to make money in order to want to continue to pursue this career path. So I'm hoping in this digital medium they're figuring out how to properly compensate creators, and the company's making money. I'm happy for everybody to win. Yeah. If this is like the streaming, move, if it's like that type of thing we're looking at right now, okay. I hope that there's an opportunity here for everybody to win in this scenario. Comic shops, it's going to be very interesting to see how. I think comic shops have been doing this. We've seen it the past few years, where they've been diversifying and changing how they approach product. I'm also looking out for them and hoping that they're successful in this. Boy, it's an interesting time to be a fan, because there's a lot going on. There's a funny little meme up there from Jared. He posted the one about.
It's Superman.
Yeah, with Henry Cavill. Everyone's saying Henry Cavill is coming back as Lucy and Charlie Brown, where she's holding up the football. He's right. I mean, we keep hearing this stuff. I gotta say, we'll talk about something in a little. Actually, let's just jump to it. So, The Rock has been saying that his plan all along has been for Black Adam versus Superman. I mean, he wants it to be Henry Cavill and the two of them for duking it out. I honestly think the biggest feather in the cap of there being more with Henry Cavill would be yeah, of course you want to, if Black Adam versus Superman is going to be an endgame goal, you gotta have like another Superman movie, right?
Yes, yes. And this could be the lead in for it, or who knows? Again, yeah, I'm just very happy right now with all this, and there, some people talking negative. I'm like, come on, guys, this is all good. I think one, it gets people talking about DC movies. It gets people talking about future DC movies. It gets people excited. Now, granted, if they do a Lucy, with the football, that would anger me. I'm like, oh, come on, guys, swerve, that got me. But I do want to see Henry Cavill back. I would love to see Black Adam versus Superman. I'd love to see another Ben Affleck Batman. I liked him as Batman. I thought he was okay, and obviously we always want to see more Wonder Woman because those movies are outstanding. So, yes, give me more.
Now,
give me more content.
Ben Affleck's in Aquaman 2, right?
What?
Ben Affleck's in Aquaman 2, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. That's a good thing. Gotham Knights, all I can say is I'm just getting more excited every time I see more trailers. There's a thing about a new story. There's a new mode that's going to do 4-player mode that's going to be in there. It's a game right now at this point I just want to play. I can't wait to talk about it on here because I'm actually getting to play it. I love this thing about, we saw that recent picture with where Superman comics are going. And with basically everyone having jackets, except for Superman.
Yeah, and I love the only one.
I love this. This is, first of all, this is beautiful art. I love these kind of things out there. And she's like, you want a jacket too, don't you? I really do. So good. I've been watching a lot of Superman lately. Like between like the Super Sons, I've been watching Smallville because I'm very into the Smallville podcast right now, Talkville. And I've been catching up on the Superman and Lois TV show, which is fantastic. I've been very Superman happy at the moment.
Now, here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want Clark to get a modernized costume with a jacket instead of a cape?
No. Well, I shouldn't say that. Here's the thing. They've done all kinds of kooky stuff with him over the years. They did Superman Red and Blue and stuff like that. I read all that stuff and I dug it. So I'm not going to say, I say no. If you got a storytelling reason why you're going to do this, other than just like, hey, let's mess with his outfit, I'm in, as far as a story-driven reason for it. Other than that he just wants a jacket.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny. I mean, this is a great, great meme. And I mean, if there is something storytelling-wise where there's a reason why they give him one, sure. Because here's what eventually they're going to put him back in his suit. Like they will have an anniversary reason or something to throw him back in his suit.
It's traditional, yeah.
Yeah. I don't care when they mess with, change around his costume and do stuff like that. I always am intrigued with what they're going to do with him. I mean, hey, listen, I was around for the mullet years.
Yes. The super mullet.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, and I dug that too, because that was story driven. So, I mean, whatever they want to do. The Scott Jamieson made a post about the Green Woman with Peter Straub, and it's cool to see his comic book review with Peter Capaldi is going to be one of the characters, I guess, in the adaptation, which I haven't.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if that's out or no, it's actually it casted Peter Capaldi. I guess the Green Woman has been an adaptation. I never saw it.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, I love stuff like this, where this is. Thank you, Scott, for posting the link. I haven't had a chance to read his review, but I'm going to go over. I actually really enjoy reading his reviews, and I love when I learn stuff like this. I didn't know this was a thing. So, have you ever seen The Green Woman?
No, not at all.
I'll jump on this. So, it's something that's what I love about this kind of stuff, when you get to find out that this was actually made into an adaptation. There is a interview on comicbook.com, The Riddler Year One, how Paul Dano created the Batman's villain origin story. And
Yes.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. More.
Yeah. You tell me any more content in that universe and I'm all in. Because again, that was just a well-crafted story. I want the second, third, fourth, fifth, continuing it on. It doesn't need to cross over and merge with any other universe. it can sit on its own. We could have two separate Batmans and two separate Bat universes, and I'll be happy. Because they did such a great job with that. Just like it doesn't need to be Joker universe. It doesn't need to be any. No, Joker universe has its own universe. Batman, this Batman has its own Batman, and then Ben Affleck Batman has its own universe. I'm okay with multiple Batmans out there. Let's do it.
So the Legion of Superheroes animated feature coming out next year from Warner Animation is got the voice cast of Meg Donnelly and Harry Shum Jr., and Darren Criss as Superman, Matt Bomer as The Flash, and I apologize, Bomer, and Jensen Ackles as Batman. I cannot wait for this.
Yeah.
Case in point with what I just said about what I'm enjoying, but there's a whole cast of. Dawnstar is going to be a Phantom Girl, Bouncing Boy, Timberwolf, Brainiac 4, Cosmic Boy, Chemical King, Solomon Grundy. These are Shadow Lass, and we get you name it, they're going to be in this. This is what I want from Legion. Give me everybody. Wow, this is an interesting question.
Yeah.
You have to select 5 stories as an introduction to either the DC or Marvel universe. The aim is to both show folks what you love about it, but also give the reader the broad grounding to understand as many other stories as possible. What do you pick? Wow. So 5 stories you've got to pick. I would say, let's see. First one I'd pick would be Dark Knight Returns, just because I just think that's just a really cool, accessible Batman story that I think made a mark. Some of these are going to be Batman ones. The Cult is, I think, just an awesome story. Strange way, I'm going to say the original Crisis. And my reason for that story is because it has everybody and anybody in the DC universe, and kind of shows how wacky everything is, in the sense that all the multiple universes and all of the character possibilities that are there. That's a big story to give somebody, but it's one that I think is important. I would say the first Sandman collection. And my reason for that is because of the fact that showing that DC's not just superhero comics. There are stories that are outside of the universe that are well worth following. Let me think about I'm going to go with Wonder Woman: The Contest. And that's purely because it's one of my favorite Wonder Woman stories. And I think it's something that I would give somebody. Those would be my 5. Those are off the top of my head, by the way.
Right.
I've spent no time thinking about this. But I would say there's other stories that I would throw in that mix that are excellent. But if you're saying, wow, on the spot, what 5 DC stories would you pick? Those are the ones that, just without having a chance to think about it, those are the ones that I would grab. What about you?
First off, Gail Simone's run on Wonder Woman.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'd open up with that.
Well, you're picking a whole run?
Yes.
I didn't know I could do that.
Starting with issue 1 of the runs, hey, read here, and they'll want to go to issue 2, 3, 4, and they'll lock them in.
Yeah.
On the same line, the Jeff Johns Superman Action Comics run he did with that Up and Away story when Superman didn't have his powers, that whole run through, because that's a great Superman and the nature of who he is.
Now I think you're getting to the assignment. Up and Away. Okay,
yeah.
So you're picking a story. So that, okay, I'll go with that. Yes. And a great story choice, too, actually. I really enjoyed that one.
Identity Crisis.
Okay.
I absolutely loved Identity Crisis, and I think it's a great, I think,
it's a cool mystery.
Yeah, what?
It's a cool mystery.
Yeah, I think that's part of it's cool mystery, good exploration on who the hit characters are, the heroes are. Let me see, that's 3. 4, I'm going to say Green Lantern Rebirth. After everything's done, Rebirth. It's Rebirth, or oh crap, what's the? Yeah, Rebirth, when the Lantern Corps starts coming back. That story.
You're talking Green Lantern Rebirth.
Yes, Green Lantern.
Yeah.
So that's 4, and then 5. DMZ. Again, same kind of reason you went with you went with Sandman. It's the same kind of deal where it's not just they do other stuff. Granted, that's Vertigo, but Vertigo DC to me is the same deal.
If I'm going to do an honorable mention because you just chose one that was a full run, and I'm going to say if I'm going to go with a full run of something, I'd give somebody Secret Six.
Oh, yeah.
Purely out of just passionate love for that series. The problem I have with Secret Six is it wouldn't be for me picking a single story of Secret Six. It would be just, here's this run. Yeah. Read this. And I was looking for stories. So can you do it for Marvel? Because it says no. DC or the Marvel Universe?
Flat out, no, probably not. Because it's been so long with Marvel for me. Let
me try it. Daredevil Born Again, which was a great story that I really, really love. I'm glad it's being there's going to be an adaptation of it. Boy, let me think about what would I do from Uncanny X-Men. Uncanny X-Men, I would selfishly go with the issue. There was an issue that first introduced Belasco, where Illyana went to limbo, and I would pick that issue because it was a self-contained done in one. But I remember as a kid reading that and it introduced the X-Men, but also gave you this idea of they went to this dark world. I don't know if you read that issue ever, but they went to this dark world where the X-Men were killed. I mean, in this world, and they had to you have to prevent this happening to you. It was something that happened to an alternate timeline X-Men. It was a very tight done in one story, but had the implications and ramifications of that story had a huge impact that are still felt today in the X-Men. There's things that they did in there that have still impacted one character in particular from that story. And I'll leave that at that, but it was a great issue of Uncanny X-Men. Spider-Man. There was a great story with Kraven's Last Hunt. Kraven's Last Hunt was one of my favorite Spider-Man stories. It was like a mini, it was a really tight, contained, great artwork. It just did everything that I wanted to. It was a great Spider-Man and Mary Jane story. There was a hardcover with Charles Vess. Spider-Man, I believe it was called Spirits of the Earth, and I don't have it in front of me right now, but I actually have 2 copies of it. I have it digital, and I have it in hardcover still. And I remember it's a great, beautiful story. But if you have never seen the artwork of Charles Vess, it is absolutely stunning. And boy, for a 5th one, this really puts you on the spot. Well, I guess for me, this is gonna be purely me going off of my own love. I grew up loving Marvel Team Up, and I'm gonna go back to and I'm not gonna have the issues right in front of me right now. There was one that it took most of my life to be able to read the whole doggone thing. But there was a Spider-Man Iron Fist 2-issue story that I read the first part that was Iron Fist. And the second issue, because Marvel Team Up, what happened was if the story continued, it was actually Spidey teamed up with a different character in the second issue, but it continued on the story. And it was Spider-Man and Iron Fist was the first issue, and I had a love for Iron Fist out of it, that grew into me enjoying Power Man and Iron Fist. But I think the reason why I picked that one, Marvel Team Up was a great book, and it's a good one that I would hand anybody who is a Spider-Man fan that wants to get to know the Marvel Universe. There's trade paperbacks now of the classic Marvel Team Up issues. It's a great way to read Spider-Man stories that introduce you every issue to another Marvel character through the lens of their interactions with Spider-Man. I just think it's a really cool book, and I always loved that one. I had a subscription to that as a kid, and I feel like the stories still hold up as being a great primer on these are the characters in the Marvel Universe. It's cool to feel like Spider-Man's your running buddy, and as like introducing you to these people.
Well, here, let me throw out a couple.
Okay.
The Wolverine and Kitty Pryde limited series.
Oh, that is outstanding.
The Wolverine limited series is because
I'm jealous because when you said that Wolverine Kitty Pryde, I was going to change one of my answers because of that. But I'll just let you take it and go with it.
Yeah. go with the Wolverine Spider-Man team up. You're seeing a theme here, by the way.
Wolverine. That's all right.
Yeah.
These are great Wolverine. You're throwing out some great Wolverine
read.
stories. Yeah.
He's my main read in the Marvel Universe. And I can't remember the name of the story arc, but it's the arc where Storm lost her powers and then eventually became the leader of the X-Men without powers.
Yeah,
when she takes out Scott. I remember she and Scott had a battle and she didn't have any powers and she still took them. That for me was just one of those issues like, wow, this is really cool. I love that issue. And I don't remember the name of that story going on.
Well, it was with the Morlocks. It was with the Morlocks under there. And Callisto was who Storm was going up against under there and lost the power, saving somebody. She took the hit that was meant for somebody else.
Yep.
Because it was a gun, wasn't it? Wasn't it there was it was some form of weapon that was fired that Forge had created? Wasn't that the whole
it was an anti-mutant. It was a weapon Forge made to take away mutant powers.
Yeah.
And she took the hit for it. So and then last one, it's the Kitty Pryde Spider-Man team up.
Oh yeah.
And I remember because it was like Kitty was doing this babysitting, and it was a legit real life babysitting job. That the professor wanted her to have a normal teenage life, and it turns out the Morlocks attack. And so she's going down there to try to rescue the kids she's babysitting and sees they've already captured Spider-Man. And she ends up freeing Spider-Man from these electric kind of chains, and then those two working together. It was kind of a neat, I still remember, that was a neat story, a neat team up with the two of them.
Gotham Knights has this other mode that they're going to be adding. And it's called Heroic Assault. And it's an upcoming gameplay mode that is separate from the main story campaign. It supports up to 4 players in online co-op, provides a dedicated arena-like environment with specific objectives to complete, and enemies to defeat on each floor. 30 floors total. So it's going to be November 29th. It's coming out as a free update for all owners of Gotham Knights. And it's separate mode that's not part of the main story campaign. So I like when they add things like that onto the games, and I think it's really cool. So, and I guess the game is 2 players only, the main game. So this is kind of their response to that, giving a 4-player arena. I think it's cool, like that they're adding more onto it. The Black Adam early reactions, big shock, seem to be doing gangbusters, which I'm excited for. I'm glad that there's genuine, real love for where this is going. And it's good for DC. There's actually an article we'll talk about in a little bit that's talking about some of the upcoming things. And I'm seeing the action figures in the next post from McFarlane Toys. I'm going to be owning some of these. Yes. I know I am, because I know I'm going to be jonesing for this. We're going this week. I mean, it's
I know.
I can't believe it's this week we're going to be. So our next episode is going to, spoilers, is going to be Black Adam.
Yeah.
Scott actually posted another one for Cthulhu is hard to spell. Am I saying that right? I know it's the Lovecraftian thing, but I'm excited to read his review. Let's see here. So DC's Turning Point they're talking about, and James Gunn is pitching another idea to DC. We've got The Rock, who is talking about potentially a fight between Superman and Black Adam. We've got Matt Reeves planning an expansion to his Batman universe. J.J. Abrams still in the mix. Listen, here's the thing. Suicide Squad and Peacemaker were great. If James Gunn wants to do more DC stuff, please just make that happen.
Yes.
Because I enjoyed both of those properties, so he can definitely make this his playground. That's something that's exciting. I'm glad to see an article that's talking about positive turning points. This is from the Hollywood Reporter. DC at a turning point. I'm like, yes, finally we're getting some articles that are talking positively about this universe that we love. I'm hoping this is a sign of a trend because it's a cool universe. And to me, the battle between the two universes is ridiculous, especially when it comes to media right now. We should be embracing the fact that the DC universe definitely brings a different flavor to media than the Marvel universe does, and that's a good thing. especially when you've got more comic book properties coming onto television and all kinds of media, we get more choice, more options, more for people to latch onto. Did you know that Tim Curry was going to be the Joker in Batman, or was potentially up for the Joker in Batman the Animated Series?
I did not know that until seeing this little link, and I'm like, and to be honest with you, you think about his voice, yeah, I could see him pulling it off.
Yeah, Tim Curry's great, so
yeah,
that you can see that. I mean, boy, I'm so used to Mark Hamill, and boy, his portrayal was excellent. I'm going to be buying a lot of alternative covers.
Yep.
Because that Nightwing 100 cover list, I mean, they're all cool. Like, every cover I'm seeing is really a unique batch of covers, and kind of does the full gambit of being like ones that are united about the Batman family, one that are united around the whole DC universe and his, being like a figurehead there. Very intimate ones about his relationship with Barbara. Jared makes the point that there's a lot of the variants are about Dix and Bab being very close. He said, wonder if they're planning to do something big with their relationship this issue. If they are, I hope it's not ending it.
Yes.
Because sometimes these things tend to swerve us the wrong way. And I would love to see if they're going to do something, move the relationship forward. I don't need Dick Grayson, Boy Bachelor out there. I would love to see them become a couple permanently.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I've loved his past relationships with Starfire and other characters as well. I'm not, saying that those were wrong or anything. I loved them. But I'm at a point with the character where if you want to take a risk and Batgirl and Nightwing are, going to head in more permanent direction, bring it on. Yeah. We got plenty of characters that are solo.
And I'll tell you, I 100% agree with you. I would love for the ending of issue 100 being, one of them gets on a knee and pulls out a ring. Mm-hmm. For me, it'd be neat if Babs did it, just because, kind of flip things around. Sure. That'd be kind of neat.
Sure.
But something is just tingling in the back of my head.
Oh, you go, stop, take your tingles elsewhere. Your tingles have no place here.
Now, one thing I did wonder, because you mentioned his ex-relationships and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Remember when he was Rick and he didn't have his memories and all that stuff, and he had that bartender that he was having that relationship with. Uh-huh. And he ended up ending it with her because he, wanted to protect her and just said, hey,
sure,
I don't have any memories of that or any feelings on that. And he really did have feelings for her. What if, she has a little bundle of joy? What if the two of them have a kid? And that's what we find out in issue 100.
Your tingles have no place here. Your tingles have no place here. I want Babs and Dick to get together.
Hold on. I 100% want that too. Yeah. I 100% want to see those two get married. I 100% love that. Love that notion.
Yeah, but when you throw out wacky stuff, there's usually it's like I always sit there and go, oh, you're crazy, that's not going to happen. And then some version of it winds up happening. So you just shush.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, no, you just shush. I'm worried now. You jinxed Dick Grayson. If they don't get together, I'm blaming you.
Okay.
Wonder Woman 3's first scriptment is almost complete, and I'm glad actually that there's more progress with that. The first two are outstanding, and I'm glad to see more of this. To the point of DC turning a corner. Another cool DC movie news.
I see Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot. Okay, we're good.
Yep.
I know it's going to be good.
Absolutely.
I'm 100% confident in both of them. That they're not just going to throw some schlepping together just to get a paycheck. Both of them really, this is a passion project for them. They love where the character's going, what they've done with it. So I'm all in. So yes, Wonder Woman 3, that's opening day.
A couple shout outs before we kick into our talking about comics. We've been as far as the news, but First of all, I want to thank the people that are joining our podcast. We've had like a surge in listeners lately, whether it's people that are returning that, haven't listened to us in a while or new people coming on board. Welcome. And also I want to thank people that have been gradually migrating over from the old Facebook group or are newly joining our new Facebook group. I want to thank everyone that makes this segment possible because we've got a team of people and I wouldn't do them justice rattling off their names right now. But thank you to everybody that takes time, whether you're sharing posts to your own blogs or because you think the content's relevant, and I appreciate that, or you are sharing news and concepts, even case in point what Jared threw out this week as far as the top 5 DC and Marvel stories. And I actually liked doing that where I didn't have time to prepare. I just rattled it off because that's a list that would evolve, right?
Yeah.
And if I spend a lot of time on it, I already, like, as you were throwing stuff out, I'm like, oh, wait, I should have chosen that, and I should have done this, and I should have done that. It's kind of fun just off the cuff to say, if you had to pick 5 stories right now and you don't have any time to think about it, what would you do? And that's kind of fun because it's a good chance to get out stories that you may not have otherwise gotten out there. So thank you to everyone who helped put this segment together. And Jim, why don't we talk some comics?
We are Crystal Men from Mercury. We have no quarrel with you.
Our first discussion is on Gotham City, Year 1, Issue number 1. The writer is Tom King, pencils by Phil Hester, inks by Eric Gapster, with colors by Jordi Belair, letters by Clayton Cowles, cover by Phil Hester, Eric Gapster, and Jordi Belair, variant cover by Ryan Sook. The 125 variant is David Marquez, and the editor is Ben Abernathy.
One of my favorite runs with Phil Hester on art was his run on Green Arrow. And I really just enjoyed his take on that character. It's great to see him on this miniseries and with Tom King and the whole team and what they're doing with this. This is one that completely was under the radar for me. In the sense that it's Gotham, so I'm just going to order it and enjoy it and that type of thing. But it came out and I until I read the first issue, it really was floating under my radar. We did this one because we were going to do the Joker on this episode, and we knew that, and we're like, let's throw another Gotham-themed book onto that, and we did this on a whim. I am so glad we did this on a whim, because this was a real treat. I did not know what to expect. Really loved it because it's a story that's talking about an era we haven't really seen in Gotham, and boy, does it do a really cool take on what society was like in that time. Tom King is not afraid to, throw things in your face and really do some commentary. This is a bold story. I really, really enjoyed this and did not expect what I got from it.
Oh, big time. And 1960s, the way the world was, they 100% covered it. And I like the fact that on the creative page, they do have a kind of a warning for people that they're keeping it true to the time frame, and people may be insulted and upset, and this could potentially, throw you, in a, could, really, kind of annoy you and anger people. And I love the fact that they said, hey, we're letting you know this is out there, and this is going to be true to the time. So you're given a warning. So, and I actually, it was kind of neat when I saw that. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool that they threw that out there. Give you, it's kind of like how a lot of times with TV shows will do potential triggers when there's suicide stories or drug use stories or things like that could potentially, go beyond, because the purpose of this is entertainment. The purpose of this is they don't want to hurt anybody. And I love when you see that kind of creation actually doing that. And again, it's, obviously, I don't know if that was Tom King doing it, if that was editorials or who did it, but bravo to them on that. I think that was kind of neat.
I want to evolve part of, or add on, I guess, what you're saying. Yeah, the purpose of comics is, entertainment medium and things like that. I also love, though, when a story's not afraid to have social commentary in it.
Yeah.
And there's things in here that feel wrong because they should feel wrong. And yes. I love that's what I said about it being a bold story. I love that he took the choice to go there. I love the warning in this because here's the thing. You want to tell people, hey, this is what you're going to be encountering in this. I thought the warning was spot on and a great place to put it right in the credits. Let's get this out in the open. This is going to be a thing. We're not here to upset anybody, but we are going to be we're also not going to pretend that this era was not what it was.
Yes.
And I love that they, you're like, oh, I'm glad I don't live in the 60s. Because a lot of times there's certain eras that get glorified because of the great things about the era. And we don't talk about, well, when you peel that back, that layer, there are other layers there that we should talk about. And I love that they talk about what Gotham was like in the 60s based on what our rest of our country was like in the 60s. And really in your face, really, really bold choice in this. And I thought it was, makes you remember, we want to keep pushing past this. We want to get better than this. And that was something I walked out feeling afterwards. And I love when comics do that. I just think I think it's important that we just kind of look to, you learn from the past, right? And I think this did a good job. And it's got what a great mystery story that's going on with what's going on with the daughter and the Wayne history. And the Waynes aren't always this golden family that they make them out to be.
No, the Waynes aren't completely clean. And, and it's neat because, again, with Tom King, with his writing style, you really are put into, again, murder mystery, cop stories, things like that. Yeah. He really writes those brilliantly. I absolutely love this. This is a PI story, and one of those dime store magazine PI stories, but come to life and added on with some serious talent behind it. And I love the fact that it still has that PI story feel to it, but it's not just one. It's not just a single layer, simple story. There's going to be layers to this. There's going to be difference. There's going to be swerves in it because it's got Tom King attached to it. I know that's coming, and I'm looking forward to the massive swerves. I'm looking forward to the whodunit, final reveal, and I'm trying, and I'm diving in, hoping I will actually be able to figure it out along with them. And those are the kind of things that gets me excited when it's a story that, I saw some of this, playing out. I saw it coming. I saw what they did to Slam, and and I saw what happens to his buddy, Johnny Boy and all that. I saw that coming on page one as soon as all that was going on. But here's the thing: when you read it, you still go, "Oh man, I was hoping I'd be wrong. Dang it!" So I loved how it's as I said, it's a great story. That even though I see some stuff happening ahead of time, but when they do reveal it, it still hits you.
I'm glad that it was Slam that was a part of the story, because he's a character who I grew to love in Catwoman back when he was featured in that run. And I mean, obviously, I'm underselling the fact that Slam has a rich history in DC in general, but that was really, for me, where I got to know the character was when he was teamed up with Catwoman. And I'm glad they brought him back in this capacity, where we're now using Slam as being a 60s PI. He was actively operating in Gotham, and we're telling a story about the history of Gotham through that. It has all the right tropes. It's like grounded in reality of there's like a film noir piece to this. There's something that's like really, really cool about how this all plays out. The art team absolutely nailed every bit of the atmosphere in this. There were choices that were made where they tend to have full backgrounds on some pages, then they'll go to a white background where just the furniture is present and Slam, and it really gives you this sense of thinking in his head as he's delivering a narrative, which is fun to like have those narrative pages that just really work. There's something to that. I loved when he was driving through Gotham, that this was a very different Gotham. During, this time frame, there, Gotham was a place where neighbors respect each other, we're waving hands, this is not what we're used to in Gotham at all. Like, it's safe to walk out in the streets and things like that. This is the beginning of the turn. And that's a piece that where we're seeing Gotham City year one, this is the start of the turn. From what was a pleasant town to the place that Batman has to fight against. And I love that this is really the main character in this is Gotham, right?
Yes. Well, again, it's Gotham City year one.
Yeah.
And we always say, every single time we talk Batman stories, we always say the great ones, Gotham is a character. Well, 100% Gotham is a character here. Yeah, Slam's our main focus on this, and the Waynes are the main focus, and the soon-to-be identified, villain behind the story. But Gotham City itself, how Gotham City falls, is the main part of the story. And I think that's kind of neat. And again, I agree with you. I love when they showed him driving through and it sees all the kids waving, hey, how you doing? And he's waving back and everything's all happy. And then he gets to the Wayne Manor. And that's when, things take a turn for the worse for Slam. And I was like, okay.
He is just trying to deliver a letter. He was tasked with delivering a letter. He's trying to deliver the letter. And boy, that sends him down a spiral that he's just never going to get out of, because now he's been branded as knowing more than he does about the letter.
Yep.
Boy, Constance Wayne, you do not want to get on the wrong side of Constance Wayne when her child has been taken. And here's what I want. There's a whole story to be told about what happened to Helen Wayne. And boy, is this a gripping journey.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because, again, one of the things that I saw coming, when he first shows up and they slam up against the wall and the fight and all that stuff, I'm like, oh, yeah, Slam's 100% getting set up in that letter. And I knew it was coming, but even when the reveal happens, it's still great. And you knew they were going to tune him up and they were going to beat him up just to see how much more he knew. But even when it does appear, you're like, okay. And I love what you said about just that first introduction to Constance Wayne, just the way she's drawn, just the way she's present there. It kind of gave me this feeling like, yeah, she's not the sweet, debutante or, the socialite or anything like that. There's a darkness to her. And then you later on see there is a darkness to her. And I was like, that is outstanding how, even though I was thinking it when I that first introduction to her and the first intro, the coldness to her, that you're getting that vibe. Again, most of that coldness vibe comes from the artwork, comes from the way they're laying her out. Later on in the story, we get confirmation of that. And it was absolutely brilliant how they did that.
The interesting part is, it says something about Slam and this is exactly what I've always loved about the character, and Tom King is just nailing the coolest bits about Slam Bradley. He's getting beat up. Other people would be just telling every little detail. He's holding back things that he knows they aren't really looking for. And if I start squealing about these things, somebody else is going to get hurt. And in this case, Johnny Boy. I'm not going to tell him about the tail. There's no reason to tell him about that right now. That tells you a lot about the fortitude that he's getting pummeled. He's thinking about, it makes me feel good to know I'm keeping something from him. I mean, that was cool. I liked that whole play out, that dialogue. It was a great dialogue moment to match the action on screen.
And I love the color palette choice.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times, when you get a violent thing, people will go with a darker reds and that. They went with the green, the kind of subdued sort of thing, but you still get that splashes of blood on the glasses. You still get, he's getting worked over. They're going to town on him. A lot of the black and white scenes showing multiple kicks and punches. And again, brilliant color choice. I love this page. This, again, was a really neat one to see. And as I said, I knew it was coming, but I still loved it. And then you flip it, and that's when you really get to see Constance. And you're like, oh, yeah, she's not a nice person. There's a darkness to her. Outstanding.
The letter's, really rough because there's some of it that's almost juvenile in its presentation. Have $100,000 to pay for child. Child is safe, but won't be safe if you don't pay. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell police so she stays safe. I want to give child back, safe, for the money. I write here more soon. You know it is true by me with my mark here. And there's a bat symbol. Whoa. That I did not expect.
Yeah, now, the first thing that popped in my head on that, when I saw that letter, was it was somebody trying to make it sound like they weren't, educated.
Sure.
But it really was someone very intelligent. Someone very educated is planning this. but they're throwing this off the scent. And you later see, because of all the factory going on, in the neighborhoods and all that, and I think obviously they're going to try to blame it on those people. Blame it on the neighborhoods that are getting displaced and getting messed up because of the factory. And it's again, right. You start thinking of, okay, who's to blame? Who's to gain from this? Who could actually do this? And again, I always, whenever there's some type of crime involving a child, I always look at one of the parents. I always look at it just because, it's the big swerve. And for me, Constance is coming to mind.
Really?
I'm wondering if she wants out of this marriage, but she needs escape money. And this is her escape money.
Yeah, or if it's the dad and he's trying to keep the dad trying to keep.
I don't see it as Wayne.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but 100% think this is all. It's all just a swerve to throw them off of the scent as to who the real bad guy is. So, again, who knows? I don't know yet, and I love the fact that we're looking forward to it.
It's interesting. Like, if Constance is pulling a swerve, she's doing a great job of it.
Yeah.
Because she's certainly playing the angry mother, and I mean the angry, scared, emotional mother. I mean that's and she's fierce. So it's an interesting sort of piece there. Loader is interesting. The fact that Slam's got this history with these characters, with these people, and looking over the fact that he hasn't had the greatest reputation in being a gritty, street cop back in the day. There's some questions that are going on there because it's a tough life, and it's interesting to see. I want to know more about his. Yeah. They're dangling the thread of there's some things to learn about early chapters of Slam's life that are going to make us kind of question the character a bit, and I like that.
Well, both he and Loader are ex-PD.
Yep.
The question does ring whenever I hear ex-PD. Why did they leave?
Yep.
Is always a thing. And again, they're dangling, as you said, this kind of carrot about these two. Both of them aren't as clean cut, maybe, or maybe I don't know. I love that the fact that issue 1, we're already looking and wanting backstory on these characters. Now, it was funny. Loader was one of the ones part of me was thinking maybe he can be involved in this, but I don't think he's a ringleader type. I don't think he's got the intelligence to pull it off. But he could also very easily be part of the job. This could be a multiple tier setup kind of thing because they needed an inside person to get the kid out. So one of the security, they needed an inside person who knew the lay of the Wayne Manor, who could break in, steal the kid, and move on. So again, I love the fact that as I'm going through this, I'm playing in my head who are my prime suspects.
One of the things I really loved early on, you get this contrast of this idea that Gotham is this welcoming, open, loving city with great neighborhoods and things like that. Then you get to the sequence with the segregated neighborhood, and you realize that underneath all of that window dressing that they've got there is the fact that, well, what about these people? Why are they not part of that same community? How welcoming is Gotham really if you're segregating your neighborhoods? And knowing that there's the North, the idea of North Gotham, figuring out how to fix those neighborhoods, and really, some great social commentary on. There's some really cool things that came out of the 60s and some things that were not so great in the 60s.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that he tackled that in this because it through shining a light on what Gotham was like there, you look back in the past and you go, whew, we have grown so much as a society and yet we still have so much further to grow. And especially nowadays, right? And I love when comics aren't afraid to get in the face of that. And really, I've always referenced that in my life. I think comics have helped make me a better person because of the fact that they do stories like this where you sit there and you take a look at something and you go, oh, that's really in your face and it makes you think. I love thought-provoking stuff like that. It's smart. This is where it's literature.
Yes. 100%. And one of the things I love when he's driving through the South Side, and they still have that same moment when he sees the kids playing in the street, they wave and he waves back. Yep. I still like the fact that, we're in a part of town that has, higher poverty, they're kind of unfair reasons are hitting them, and they're just good people trying to work through a bad situation. You still have that open and still have that friendly side of Gotham. Even North and South both have that same kind of energy to it. I loved how they did take a moment to show that, and again, unfortunately, you flip the page and then you see Johnny Boy, and you're like, oh, yeah, saw that one coming, but still bad to see that happen.
Slam's being framed for the death of his partner and really being worked over as far as, I don't know how you get out of that one. Great way to end this. I did not expect the next page.
Yes.
Where we now get this story where an older Slam is telling all this to Batman. You think you know why you do what you do. You think you even know who you are. But until you know what I know, you don't know a thing. And I loved that, where he's saying there's things here you don't understand. There's history here that you don't get. It was a great, smart choice. I didn't think the story didn't need to go here. It already had enough for me. That added just a whole other layer to this whole thing that I really, really enjoyed.
I love that ending page, especially when, you got Bruce sitting there telling him you shouldn't, it'll kill you. You sound just like your grandpa. I didn't even know Richard Niconson's just painting in a picture gone before I was born. I love how we have Bruce talking to him, but then when you actually pan back, it's Batman. Yeah. So Slam knows the secret. Slam knows who he is. And again, that was a neat little way to show it. And I love how we get a moment when Bruce is in the cowl, but he's not being Batman. He's actually using his real voice with this guy. Now, I'm assuming Slam was one of his teachers. Or Slam figured it out or something. I don't know. But again, more backstory I'd love to know. I'd love to know where this goes. So this story did a brilliant job getting me excited for what I was reading, enjoying what I was reading, but also getting me thinking off page, thinking issue 2, issue 3, where is the story? Who are my prime suspects? What's going to happen here? And then add on this last page with the fact that Slam knows Bruce's secret. I'm curious if we'll ever actually hear when and how Slam found out. So it's yes, there's ending this issue. I'm like, no, I want more now, please.
Couldn't agree more.
Green Lantern, let you and I destroy that space junk.
Our next discussion is going to be of the Joker, the man who stopped laughing, issue number 1. It's not funny anymore. Written by Matthew Rosenberg. Carmine D. Giandomenico is the artist. Arif Prianto on colors. Tom Napolitano on letters. Carmine D. Giandomenico on the cover. Liber Mayo and David Nakayama on the variant covers. Francesco Mattina on the 125 variant cover. Ben Oliver on the 150 variant cover. Haining on the 100 variant cover. Dave Wheelgo's associate editor. Ben Abernathy editor. The backup story. Here's Looking at You, Kidder. Story by Matthew Rosenberg. Art by Francesco Francavilla. Lettering by Tom Napolitano and editing by Dave Wheelgo's. And apologies for any name butchery. I didn't realize how ready I was for another Joker series until we got this issue. I'm glad that this is going to seem strange, and I do not mean this as an insult to what came before. I'm glad it has a completely new creative team because the story has a new flavor. And I loved what we got in the last Joker miniseries. I felt like it was a great contained story that told a really powerful Joker piece, did some great stuff with Punchline. This one, I was ready for something different. And I like the gritty art. I like the, right from the cover. I mean, you just kind of get this really gritty scene. I also love this, tackling this idea of what is the Joker, who is the Joker, and especially in light of what we've seen with things like Three Jokers and stuff like that out there right now, this is playing with the concept of what the Joker actually did. Who is the Joker Prime and who is, this plays around with a lot of those concepts. I really enjoyed that aspect of it, in that it told a different kind of Joker story. Loved the last miniseries. Love that this is kicking off a new season with a very, very different flair. At least that's my take. I don't know. What were you thinking about this one?
Well, we're getting the whatnot of the Joker, kind of, and I love that. And it's funny, when the first series got done, I was in the mindset, man. Let's continue the story. I wanted the same creative team. I wanted the same look, the same feel. I'm like, let's continue on this role. I want to see, right after it takes off for there, let's continue on. And that's what I had in my head as what I wanted this to be. Then I started reading it, and it's completely not that. And I was like, okay, this is a really good Joker story. I'm okay with, they're completely going against everything I wanted, and I'm loving the story. So right there tells you this is awesome. That to me, in my brain, if I'm like, in my head, I've got this idea what it should be, and you do the complete opposite of it, and I say, wow, this is amazing. It's kudos. That's a solid story. That's absolutely brilliant. And everything you were saying about just this art style, a dramatically different art style, because it is a different art style, I agree with you completely. This fits this story. This fits this Joker story coming out. And, again, I do love a really good Joker story. Yeah. And especially, you get a good Joker story that isn't afraid to let the Joker be the Joker, but also ones that gives us little swerves, like a big swerve at the end. But again, I was like, man, it's funny. I kind of saw the big swerve at the end coming, but again, when they finally do reveal it, I was like, I still popped for it. I still was like, this is going to be good. All right. But the whole time I'm thinking this is what's going to happen. So again, if you get a story where I think it's going to go one way, I'm thinking, okay, the big swerve, I know what it is. And even when I still react to it, when you give it, that means you laid out the groundwork nicely. You built to that moment. You built to the reveal at the right point in time. It was, again, 100% on the storytelling, 100% on the artwork on this one. Really looking forward to issue 2.
The story opens up with that Gotham City 4 days ago, and I love the joke that's being told. And it's funny to talk about that one. All jokes work the same way. A man calls the waiter over to his table. Waiter, what is this fly doing in my soup? The waiter looks in the bowl. The backstroke. And, you get that, crazy little joke, but what's going on at the table is so gruesome.
They're eating people.
Yes.
You gotta love that.
Yes. And it's one of his guys.
Yes. It's several guys can find the multiple body parts, and the bad guys run into the kitchen and they see him chopping up and putting the people into there. You're just like, oh man, again, brilliant classic Joker opening. Because you 100% don't see it coming until that moment when they kick in the door, like you're back. Indeed, I seem to be. I'm like, oh, God. And you can kind of hear a little bit of a weird Joker tone in the voice. And when our team really gets stuff right, and even his clown posse that he's got going around with him, just how horrific they are as they're chopping up body parts of one of their guys, getting ready to throw it into the soup. I was just like, man, this is a lot of crazy stuff is happening in this one page. And again, our team did a brilliant job with doing the whole background. A lot of blood splatter. As I said, hacking up body parts all over the place. And the Joker just, sitting there acting like any chef, testing and tasting his soup. Make sure, I think we got enough of this guy in there. Let's throw some spices and kick this up a notch.
The interesting part is, so the Joker comes back after having been gone all that time, and I love that sense of progression. The last Joker miniseries happened. He was gone for a while. And now all of a sudden he's making his appearance back in Gotham City, and as with any power play, you've got 3 people that have benefited from this. The Riddler, Two-Face, and Black Mask are like, let's team up together and basically sort things out, because we can't have this guy running roughshod over the organization that we've put in place. Because those are 3 guys, And it's strange to say that with Two-Face, but they're three guys that will put order and organization in place. And I really liked seeing that, where they're like, oh, we got to get a handle on this now, because if we let this chaos kick off, we are done.
Yep.
And I thought it was really a great sequence that totally matched a progression in Gotham.
And it's a lot of the villains don't work well together. And it's a standard story with them. You get sometimes when they have these brief alliances, but you 100% could see these three sitting down saying, Joker's back. We got to deal with this. We got to deal with this now before it gets too late. And they all probably were like, yeah, let's do it. And once this meeting is over, the alliance is over. They're not going to continue running Gotham together, but they recognize they needed this massive amount of force against the Joker because it is the Joker, and I again keep saying how much I love this story, but again, brilliant layout of 4 days ago, 2 days ago, just as I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be another torture scene. Nope. That's when they bring in Mask, Two-Face, and Riddler. So it was like brilliant usage of these characters to, again, continue on the story. And it goes a nice little swerve that you kind of don't see coming, where the Joker's like, you know what? You're right. I'm actually going to leave. I'm going to leave Gotham to you guys, and you guys have fun. See ya. And I was like, what? And I love the fact that I was like, what? Really? And the running commentator is like, really? Wait. Why is he doing that? Not understanding why the Joker is walking away. I was like, it echoed my thought that was going on in my head, seeing that. And I love how the fact that, especially given who the person under the hood is, making these comments, it does make you go, huh? The fact that you're like, yeah, he's right. Why is the Joker walking away?
I love the bodies are being cleaned up, that they're like debating the fact that, like, why are we doing this? Like, He's not even in Gotham anymore. Why are we cleaning up while he's on a beach somewhere? And they're like, promoted, because they're like doing this for promotion. Promoted? What? Everyone who works for him, and you know what that's going to be? You die.
Yeah.
But the cadaver that they're carrying, the one that's dressed in a Joker-like outfit,
yes,
is alive still. And I got to admit, I saw something coming with that. I'm not going to say that I will 100% admit I didn't see where it was, but the outfit was, for me, something I was fixated on. Like, why does he got a Joker-like outfit on? What is the deal there? I was looking back at the cover, and I was like, well, maybe the cover's not a throwaway. Maybe the cover's an indicator of something that's going on here. And it was intriguing to follow this unfolding mystery, because I'm not going to pretend I knew where this was going, but you saw clues being dangled in front of you that were just enough to, like, get you like a fish on a hook and pull you through the story in a way that, like, I could not turn away. And that was really good.
One of the things, because again, with this sequence, I actually did think it was him. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how they were going to do it, but I was like, I think, yeah. And so I didn't, it was one of those things. I didn't know how they were doing it. I wasn't 100%, but this was the big swerve that I was thinking of. And it was this sequence, obviously, that I started thinking maybe it's him, because I realized this is the commentator. This is the person running it, as this was going on, because, when he's talking about long silence bang, again, telling continuing jokes and all that stuff. So it kind of got me thinking, yeah, this is him. But one of the sequences I love, when these two knuckleheads are arguing and they're getting ready to do rock, paper, scissors, the scene when they're getting ready to do their duel, you see him reach up and rip the second eye hole.
Yeah.
I kind of, we knew he was alive, but you didn't know how bad off he was because he got shot in the head, shot multiple times and shot in the head. Right there, that sequence tells you, okay, he's a lot more alive than how he seems. And I love the fact that they're doing rock, paper, scissors, and he bops him in the head with a rock. Rock wins.
And that part was really, really cool to me. So that's the Joker. Then who's the guy in the light purple outfit?
The Joker.
But the same
exactly.
Joker?
I don't know, and I think that's the thing I love about it. Because that was the thing that. Because I'm thinking, okay, that figure is the Joker. then who's this other Joker?
Right.
So do we got the two Jokers? Is this tied back to the three Joker series? Is this, is there something else going on? That's the thing that really pulled me into this, because I want to know who is the real Joker. Who is the actual Joker, or none of the above? Could the Joker that, the real Joker be somewhere else? Because remember, in the last series, there were a lot of dealings with cloning and DNA, and the Joker's DNA was one of the ones, because of the chemical mix-up, they really couldn't clone the Joker well. And wondering if someone figured it out, or I don't know. There's so many different ways this could go that I don't know, and I love the fact that I don't know, and I love the fact that this story is kind of like, again, another great mystery story laying out for me.
So it's rare that I'll say that a guy deserves to be dropped out a window, but when you sit there and say, "I've got a great idea, we need to get a handle on this guy, let's invite him up for a chat," you deserve to be dropped out a window.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't invite this man into your office and expect it to go well. And I love that. I don't want your permission or your territory. See, that wasn't so hard. And he's ready to give him anything. I just want your office.
Yep. He needs an office with a view. Come on. And it cracks me up when people think they can take on the Joker.
Yes.
They have no idea. And this guy, he only has 2 bodyguards. What are you thinking? You'd maybe need a dozen people. If he had a dozen guys surrounding, all with machine guns, maybe he'd have a shot. Maybe. Odds are no. This is a guy who's gone one-on-one with the Bat. Why would you even think you could take him with 2 rent-a-cops? Come on. I was like, oh my God, I absolutely loved it. And, again, it just completely saw it coming, completely saw him throw me out the window. I still cheered for it. And you shouldn't cheer for a man being thrown out the window, but this is a bad guy. This is a villain. So, it's one villain killing another villain. I guess we're all right.
So here's the question, and this is where there's a mystery, I think, to who's under that hood, who ultimately we see later. So let's talk about this dialogue. Sometimes it takes getting shot in the head to make you think clearly. And for what feels like the first time in my life, I am finally thinking clearly about what I know for sure and who I can trust. All of this, whatever his plan is, I didn't think it would work. I trusted that someone would stop him. I was so sure he'd fail. But nobody's going to stop the Joker. They never do, so now I have to. Is that the person in the hood talking?
Yes, that's how I took all of those comments. I took it as the person in the hood talking.
Who is the Joker, right?
Yeah.
So is this going to be Joker versus Joker? What kind of stuff's where is this going? And I'm loving it. Don't get me wrong. That's not a criticism, but I'm just fascinated by that dialogue because I thought that's who that was too, which leads me to wonder, what is going on there? And I love this because it's heady. What is this?
Yes. Well, again, 100% I'm thinking this is going to be Joker versus Joker.
Okay.
I don't know who that other guy is. I don't know who the hood Joker is versus the other Joker. And we've seen moments in a lot of different Batman stories where the Joker can have, moments of clarity.
Sure.
When he's not the Joker. And could this be, as you said, it took maybe getting shot in the head for him to think clearly. Could maybe that be, to get rid of the craziness of the Joker? And we see, because the Joker is an intelligent villain. And if we always said if he could apply himself for good, just think how awesome of a vigilante he would be. Are we going to see kind of a good version of the Joker? Are we going to see, I don't know. And I think that's, for me, the excitement that I don't know what we're going to get from this. And I love the fact that even though, it's a big swerve and we have this other Joker, who is this other Joker? And this other Joker is 100% being the Joker. Mm-hmm. And it's not just on Gotham. He's all over the country killing people in various horrific manners. And it's killing a lot of innocent people, killing, yeah, I don't know if it looks to me like a lot of innocent people are dying. This is just mass destruction by the Joker. Flexing his muscle, saying, "Hey, I'm not in Gotham anymore. No one's safe." So I always joke around about how I never want to live in Gotham because any given day the Joker could drop Joker gas and kill me. Well, now no one's safe. There's no city in the country, in the world, that's safe from the Joker, and I love that.
Wow. Yeah, that part really has me fascinated. Like, what is going on? We've got Joker that's making a spectacle on television on a large audience, and you've got now this other Joker that's on the ground level, very violent. I'm fascinated by this.
Now, I love the fact that Luther is keeping an eye on this.
Yeah,
because again, and Luther and Harley Quinn, two people I really like. Okay, again, Harley always, you 100% always think Harley when I think Joker. She's always going to be connected to him, and I love the fact that she's like, "Huh, what's going on in this?" And Luther again is another person. He always keeps an eye on all the other villains and all that. So it's kind of interesting.
The Joker Power Girl backup was great. I loved it because it was just fun. It was a great little story. You see the Joker that's basically like working on some kind of night out or date out with Power Girl. It was just such a wacky story with him and the gorilla and Mirror Master and choosing the outfit. It was just, you don't know ever what to expect with these backups. And to your point about like the main story being like such a great Joker tale, this back one just plays around with, because there's points in time where you like almost feel bad for him. He's almost like the Charlie Chaplin of this story, where you're like, this is like the Wonder Woman incident all over again. And I love how it references True Tales of Love number 173, which doesn't exist. And it was such a great, well put together, fun piece. And I love the art for it. I was glad that the art was decidedly different for this piece because of the fact that the story in the front has such a defined tone that you want the backstory to really feel different because it's a different sort of story.
Yeah. Again, it was one of those things where they didn't really need it in the story. The main story itself by itself completely was worth the money. It had a little funny story in the back. Like, okay, this is, again, as you said, I chuckled throughout it, read it, reading it a couple times, and just the heartbroken Joker trying to win the heart of Power Girl, which I agree. Hey, I understand why he would want to, and it was kind of neat just to see that and kind of made me chuckle, and it didn't take away anything from just the epic story that I just read. It was just a nice little nightcap afterwards.
Right. And it's just a cool book. And I like those. It's funny you say they didn't need it. I'm not, this isn't disputing you. It's more just thinking through the process. To me, what I really love is when a comic is allowed to have extra pages for stories like this, because where else would this go? And I love stuff like this where artists and writers get a chance to get really creative and just have some fun. And this story wouldn't work in another. I mean, it needs a vehicle, right? It needs a place for it to be told. And I'm glad we're getting this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Holy caffeine!
I would like to remind everyone about our show voicemail line. It's 1-440-388-4434. Or Dr. Norge on Skype. RagingBullets@gmail.com is our email address. You prefer to contact us that way. RagingBullets.com is our show website. That feeds into Twitter. It feeds into our Facebook fan page. We are proud to be part of an amazing Facebook group community, and they actually put together our Speeding Bullets segment for us by curating articles and sharing things that would be of interest to our listeners. So I want to thank everyone who participates in that. If you hit the About Us section, you're going to find out how to connect with us on social media and gaming platforms because we love connecting with you. We are sponsored, as always, by DCB Service and InStockTrades.com. Mr. Segulin, what is going on over at DCBService.com?
We have Absolute Batman 3 Jokers, hardcover, 50% off, only $50. And we have Batman Spawn One Shot, 40% off, only $4.19. Thank you, DCBS.
Over at InStockTrades.com, once again, The Doom Patrol by Rachel Pollack. Omnibus hardcovers $100 regularly, 50% off, only $50. The new Teen Titans hardcover Volume 1 2022 edition, $100 regularly, 50% off, only $50. I want to thank DCB Service and InStockTrades.com for continuing to support our show. Our next episode, and it's hard to believe we're actually saying this, Black Adam. We're going to talk about the Black Adam film. We will see you next week.
Bye.
All right, you guys. Are you ready to sing your song?
I'd say we are. Yeah, let's sing it now.
Okay, this should be fun. Now get ready for your cue. Okay, Sean?
Okay.
Okay, Jim? Jim? Jim!
Okay. Raging Bullets time is here. We talk about what we hold dear. Comic books and TV shows. Superheroes and their clothes. Justice League and so much more. I just love Green Lantern Corps. We talk about the books we've read with spoilers straight ahead.
Okay, fellas, get ready. That was very good, Sean.
Naturally.
Jim, you're a little flat there, so be careful. Jim? Jim? Jim!
Okay. Justice League and so much more. I still love Green Lantern Corps. DC Comics are what we know. The Raging Bullet Show. DC Comics are what we know. The Raging Bullet Show.
Excellent job, guys.
Let's sing it again. Yeah, let's sing it again.
No, that's enough. Let's not push it.
Push it. What is that? Yeah, what are you talking about?
No, I didn't
What
mean
are you
anything
trying
by
to
that.
say? I think
Sean,
it's right
Jim,
there. I don't know
how long do you want the song to go?
Look, it's